Feels live. The internet doesn't think I'm live though. Oh, come on. Seriously. Feels live. Yeah, well, it sounds live too. The internet doesn't think I'm live though. Live too. Well, that's pretty quick. Is that close? Well, that's pretty quick. Is that close? Oh. Whatever. That's as good as it's gonna get. So we get on the old kitchen TV there. Oh yeah. It's about a mile delayed on the kitchen TV though. Like, why is that happening? Don't care. Don't care. Well, welcome to the live stream. We're peeling potatoes, kids. Coffee's already been served. We're almost done with our first cup. Deal with it. Deal with it. That's all I can say. So these potatoes are getting funky and old, so we're going to peel them. That's right. Welcome to the live stream. We're peeling potatoes. Wait. I saw a video on the internet of an alien. Whatever. We'll just peel the brown spots away. Right? It'll be perfect. We'll just throw that in there for now. Good times. This potato might be a funky guy. Got a weird spot right there. Got the little dribblings of the water filling in the background. That's almost done. I was gonna wait till that was filled before I started, but I was getting messages about when the stream was starting. So I felt as though the stream needed to start. Can't leave the fans waiting. The fans are nervous about the start the stream. Get the stream started. Yeah. Trying to think about what this week's little episode is going to be mainly about. There's all sorts of crazy shit. Some crazier than others. Some so crazy it seems like it's already happened, and what's the point of talking about it? Because it's just a bunch of nonsense. And see what's going on there. What's going on with this guy? We'll just peel that till it disappears. See? Gone. Just peel your problems away, kids. Get yourself some problems and just peel them away. Alright, the water's done. Hold please, I gotta get the water. Water, you're done. If only I knew where the lid was. So tomorrow's trash day. And I have a rotten orange in my trash can in my kitchen, which is making my kitchen just a lovely experience. I thought about taking the trash out early, but the trash is like the bag's barely full, and I'm sure I'm going to get more trash. It's just let's put some peels on top of this stinky orange. I did shoot some like Lysol-like product on top of the dead orange, and then stuck a bunch of newspapers on top because everybody knows that's how you solve those problems. So if you got problems, just Lysol and newspapers. Problem solved. Just spray some flavor on top and cover it in newspapers. How am I? I'm okay. How are you? Sorry. The dogs look at me all sad. hanging out on the floor over here. Oh, she's trying to get up. Let's not film that. Oh, she got up. Don't worry. She's up. See? You're good. Fantastic. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, I'm about to cut some potatoes. We're gonna do diced. We're gonna dice them. Diced. Just go halvesies. Why not? Big dice. No little dices. Some chonkers. Are you going on vacation this summer? Oh, I'm on vacation every day. Every day is my vacation. I'm on permanent vacation. Just a permanent vacation for me. Yeah, no, probably not. I'm probably not going on vacation this summer. It would be nice, but no, I don't think I am. It's really weird. I used to go on, well, it's been a while, but like back when I was, let's see, young and more fun, I was famous for taking month-long vacations. I used to do one almost every year. I just take a month off and just go travel someplace and do a bunch of shit, see a bunch of people or whatever. That wasn't like a totally uncommon thing for me to do. I was like in my 20s, I would do that. And the other day I was trying to think, when was the last time I left my town that I live in? And I was like, I don't even remember. I know I have, but I don't remember when it was. I was really trying to think about it, and it's like, jeez. Don't know. Been a while. But that's fine. I don't mind. I got plenty to do. I think it's like got to do with when you're young, you feel like you've been in the same spot your whole life and you got to go see some shit and do some shit because like where you are kind of sucks and it's got to be better someplace else. And once you do that for a while, you finally realize, no, it just sucks everywhere. I gotta rinse these potatoes here 1 second. I'm just kidding, it doesn't suck everywhere, but it's just like, I don't know if that even makes sense. Like grass greener on the other side type of a deal. You know what I mean? Sorry, I'm rinsing potatoes. The sink area is not particularly internet ready, unfortunately. And as I say that, I realize I have to film over here later. So I might have to do a little wiping up in the un-internet ready area of the establishment. But, you know, whatever. Vacation schmacation, that's what I say. Sometimes I feel like the farther away I get from my house, the more, like, the public is available. Does that make sense? Like, dealing with the public? Ugh, barf. Barf on that. Just a bunch of randos. I think what started happening was like I'd go on vacation, then I would come home, you know, from my vacation, right? And I would be like, man, you know what I need? I need a vacation. You know, you come back from your vacation, and the first thing you say is, I could use a vacation. I don't know if your vacations are working out for you. All right, let's film me cleaning up my nasty area here. Here we go. Some sort of something going on there. I don't care. It's fine. It's the internet. I'm sure your counters never get whatever that is there. That is funky nuts right there, kids. That might require some more than just a damp towel. Ugh. The maid's week off. Sorry. The power of 409 MFers. Just get that little hit right there with the old squirt, right? So this is pre-production B-roll footage right here. You can see how the donuts are made. We'll get this all polished up here, and then she'll be ready for the. Like that thing needs. Hold on, I'm filming kind of low here. That thing needs cleaned on the outside. I did clean the basket the other day, like real cleaned. Like since I got the thing, I've been kind of doing the doesn't need clean. I just had potatoes cooked in it or whatever. If I'd cook like meat in it, I would kind of give it the scrub out. But like, it started developing like a layer to it. Does that make sense on the inside? I mean, I want to pull this out. There's gonna be oil in it because I just cooked potatoes yesterday, so there's a little fresh oil in there. Still smells fresh. Well, this is what I used to clean the thing. Look at that. Bam! The power wash. Clean the shit out of that thing. Soak that thing down and all that. It was like just a layer of grease that I could never scrape off was just eliminated. So, after all my shit talking about how that down power wash is garbage and doesn't work, turns out, kids, it works just fine. All right, what's next? Those potatoes are like priority A, but they're soaking in water right now, which is a time-honored tradition in potatoes. So we're gonna get this. Oh, did you get new tools? Oh, buddy, did I get some new tools for the garage? Yeah, I did actually. That's one of my stories. Do you want me to tell my story right now? There's 4 people watching. Is that enough people to tell my story? I'll tell my story. Here's my story. So, yeah, here goes. Well, let's go over here and finish cleaning. I'll tell my story as I clean. This thing needs rinsed off. It's kind of grubby. I thought I had 2 of these. Where's the other one? I'd rather just get a fresh one out. See, this is how I solve my problems. That's dirty. That's dirty and gross. Look at this, kids. Ready? Bam, clean and fresh, just like that. Doink. This one, we'll just chuck him over here. Problem solved. Let me solve my problem. Just throw that over there in the pile of whatever the shit's over there. Okay, so potatoes are soaking. Let me get another rinse on this real quick. Fresh water, and then we'll start the tool story. The tool story. I actually got a couple of stories, I think. I don't know. Some of them are spoilers. I don't know if I want to spoil all the good times. So, okay. One of the things I enjoy in life is I enjoy... We'll just film the dirty sink. That's fine. That was a disgusting coffee cup, and this is just random shit in the sink there because, unlike your life, I'm not perfect. In your life, you don't leave stuff in the sink because you're perfect. See? So it works. Must be nice. I'm not perfect. Anyways, one of the things I enjoy doing, which I really don't understand why, but it's just the way that I am, is I like, well, I collect collections, right? Like some people collect things like, oh, I collect, I don't know, porcelain dolls, or I collect, I don't know, what's some random shit that people collect. I collect stamps, or I collect baseball cards, or whatever. Well, I collect collections of things, so like, I mean, I guess I don't have a porcelain doll collection, technically, but I do have, like, stamps, baseball cards. I have pretty much everything, and I collect a lot of all of it. And one of the things I like to collect is tools. Now, I've read, never buy a tool unless you need it. You know, that's some sage wisdom from an angry person on the internet, right? Yeah. My grandfather was a very practical man, and he told me, never buy a tool unless you're going to need to use it right then, blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? Some people buy Ferraris because they're fucking cool. Like, the internet's got some great advice, you know? advice from an angry, bitter person who's trying to tell everybody else how to live. So let me give you some advice from as an angry, bitter person how to live. Right? That's funny. So one of the ways that I satisfy my tool collecting is there's a website called Craigslist. I don't know if you've heard of Craigslist before, but Craigslist is a website where people sell their used shit, right? So I frequently, that's like something broke. I frequently go on Craigslist and just check out what are people getting rid of, and what I do is I just kind of look to see what's available and see how good of a deal it is, and if it's a really good deal, I'll just grab it. With my main idea being that, like, there ain't nothing getting cheaper, right? Nothing. And I just happen to have plenty of room to store stuff. And I guess if shit get real bad, I could always, like, get rid of some of the shit, sell it or trade it or whatever. And I guess if I would be so unfortunate to pass away, someone else's problem, I gotta deal with it. So whatever. So anyways, I was on Craigslist the other day. One of my favorite sections of Craigslist is what's called the free section, because you'd be amazed what people give away for free. And usually it's nothing good, usually. Every once in a while you'll get a gem on the old free section. So I was tuning into the free section the other day. I probably should have preheated that, but guess what, kids? Sometimes you don't preheat. Sometimes you preheat with the stuff in the basket, right? I need to wipe my fingers off. There we go. And all right, there we go, ready to go. Get this adjusted so we can show the launch sequence. Oops, sorry, that slipped. Power sequence, potato sequence, launch sequence. So anywho's, on the free section of Craigslist, there was a listing for, and I'm not making this up, and I ended up getting it, a Sears Craftsman workbench. Steel workbench with wood countertop. Like 54-inch. Big boy. And the listing said, door, oh god, I can't remember how they posted it. Door could be reattached, missing some bolts. And I'm like, well, door could be attached. Ooh, my eggs are sweating. It's humid today. I have sweating eggs. He's nervous. Look how nervous he is. He's sweating. And it said, don't call, text message me. And I'm like, all right, text message. With the cryptic, half spelled out numbers and half, because they don't allow you to put the telephone number in the message because for some reason that's a crime. I really don't understand on Craigslist. They want you to use their, like, ridiculous email systems, like, let me type an email to you, sir. Send. And then, like, I don't know, however long it takes a snail to crawl across the internet and then deliver the email. Then I'll respond, send, as opposed to a text message like, doop, 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 doop. Anyways. Text the person, is your workbench still available? And the answer is yes. It's like, oh, all right. Workbench is available. I said, I'm interested in your workbench. And, like, the answer is, like, roughly like, okay. I'm like, all right, we're getting warmer, It's like, are you available for me to stop by and pick up the workbench? Because, like, on Craigslist, it gives you a rough idea based on a map, roughly where that person's located. And I discerned through this map and my ability to decipher information off a map that the person's location was near where I live. Like, not like get in the car and drive for an hour. It was like get in the car and drive 5 minutes or something. And they're like, yeah, I'm available. And I'm like, okay, we're getting closer here. Like, so this text stream's getting pretty big. I don't want to come and ask, where the fuck are you? But, like, it sounds like I'm going to have to ask, where the fuck are you? And, like, it's like, okay, well, if you're available, I could jump in my truck and I could be over. I could just come right on over. They're like, okay. I was like, well, I'm just going to need that address. And they're like, oh, yeah. Like, doing. Whatever. I think before they even told me the address, I told them what mall I live near. I was like, I live near this mall, so I think I'm close. Like, oh. So finally, I just straight had to ask for the address. They told me. I said, all right, getting in my truck and I'm coming over right now. And then I was like, it dawned on me, it's like a big heavy workbench. I was like, how much does this thing weigh? Like, do I need 2 people here? Or, like, what's going on? Like, can I load this by myself? Like, oh, no, you'll be fine. Which is weird. It's like they knew who I was. Like, what if I was a one-armed, like, wheelchair-bound, handicapped, elderly woman? You know what I mean? Like, oh, you got this. Like, oh, okay. I guess I got it. You know, whatever. It's kind of funny. So as I'm feeling confident that I quote-unquote got this, I drove... Oh, and I forgot this part. Along with the workbench was a listing for some traffic cones. Some yellow traffic cones. I gotta rinse the potatoes off the knife because I'm gonna cut the bacon in half. It's frozen bacon. Oh. Yeah, we're gonna wipe that cutting board off too. See, that's perfect now. And they're like, they text back, do you want the cones too? And I'm like, sure. Yep, I want your cones. And your workbench. That's what I want. I want cones and a workbench. So I drive over there, pull up to the curb. There's a workbench sitting there with the door missing. And some cones. In front of a house with the garage door open, cars in the driveway, but like nobody comes out. It's like, I've never... Like, every time I've ever done Craigslist, there's, like, even with the shits like, hey, it's on the curb, grab it or whatever, the person always comes out to, like, kind of see who the fuck you are or whatever. Nobody comes out. It's, like, kind of weird. I'm going to cut this in half. I don't know if I've ever done frozen bacon on the large griddle. But we're going to attempt it today. So this workbench, it's a 3-door workbench, so... It's got a wood top made of MDF, medium density fiberboard, which is crap, but, you know, whatever. That's what it's got. In fairly good condition. A couple water spots that made it swell, no big deal. I sanded that shit smooth. The bottom side is pristine, so I can still flip it over if I need to, but it's got 3 drawers. 1 drawer is about that deep at the top, then 2 deepy drawers, and then a big cabinet door for storage. Okay? And it was just like... missing a bunch of nuts and bolts and shit. Like, it was still in one piece, except for the door was off, but it was kind of just like, I don't know how to describe it. It just needed like someone to put a wrench on some nuts and tighten them up and replace a couple nuts. So I dragged this thing on, and it's not like, hey, you got this, bro. The thing is heavy. Like, I wasn't like, oh yeah, no problem, I got this. Like, just pick it up, toss it in the nose, like drag it out to the street, tip it on its end, rotate it up into the truck, you know, flop it on its side, blah blah. Like, it was not a fucking simple operation. I managed to get it. I grabbed the cones too. Crazily enough, the cones are kind of nice. They're like, describe them. They're like hard plastic, like PVC, 12-inch tall cones. I looked them up. They go for about $12 a piece. So it's not quite $100 for the cones sitting there. Whatever, no big deal. I did pre-warm this earlier. Let's get this going. So I came home and, like, you know, the thing was dirty. It was just cobwebs and all sorts of shit all over it, and like mud on the side. Pretty good condition overall. Like, a little bit of rust in a few spots just from being abraded from typical use. Not really like rusty from like sitting in a bucket of water, just like deteriorating or anything. A few scratches here and there. Some of the metal was bent, but that's because of the way that like the bolt fell out, and then something pivoted inappropriately. Like, one of the drawers was loaded and the bolt fell out of the back, so the thing pivoted and it bent the. But I just took a hammer, bang, 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 perfect. Fixed it instantly. I actually went through, to the best of my ability, checked every bolt on the thing, tightened them all up, and then I disassembled the whole drawer system. Took all the hinges off, or the slides, the drawer slides. Took every one of those off the whole unit, disassembled them, cleaned them because like there's just dirt and shit inside. Re-lubed them with silicone spray, and then rotated a couple that were like, there's one that, so like the slide bolts to the side and they come in and out, but they're fixed. But like one of them was kind of like that they overloaded the drawer and it was bent. So like I reversed, or I bent the thing back as straight as I could, then I flipped it over so it would load the other. Yeah, I just did shit like that. Whatever, no big deal. And then it happens to fit exactly where I used to keep a bunch of shit in my garage that shouldn't be in my garage, like all my scrap metals and stuff. So that's good. Man, talking about getting a workbench really makes the crowd disappear. That's okay. So that's new. I got to work on the top of it. I did some research on how to treat MDF, medium density fiberboard, because that shit is notoriously garbage. Because like it absorbs water and swells real bad. Oh, one potato got away. That one's for the angels. So what I found out is if you get sanding sealer and then you put sanding sealer on the MDF, it kind of seals it up and then you can paint it. So that's what I'm going to try to do, is I'm going to try to get some sanding sealer. And yeah, I got a plan there. I was gonna like get all crazy and try to put like, I don't know what you'd call it, casters underneath it and weld up a frame for it and all sorts of crazy shit. And what I ended up doing is just getting a couple pieces of broken concrete, some bricks, and just setting it on that. It works perfect. Like it just so happens that the slope that I put in my garage to allow the water to exit stage left is the exact slope that a brick and an 1.5 inch piece of concrete at that many inches apart makes a level. So yeah, it worked out perfect. It's kind of amazing. So like, in the process of trying to gather up the things, I had to go find the things, the bricks and the concrete. I was like, oh, I got some shit around here someplace that I can use to you know, level this thing out. Well, I keep all that stuff at the top of the property, which, yeah, you can walk there, but ain't nobody wants to walk to that part of the property because it's like up a hill on gravel. Like, nope. No human wants to do that. Like, you can. You do it once maybe, then you're like, you know what, I'd rather drive. Like, take the mule, but like, whatever. The mule needs a new battery because the battery is not able to hold the amps it takes to turn the goddamn starter over anymore. So I just have to jump start the thing. I got my lithium ion battery pack. So every time I want to start the mule, I got to put the battery pack jump on it, jump it, then it's fine. Well, not really, actually. It's not fine, but it runs. That's on the list of things to replace. So I was like, all right, jump the mule. We drive around, look for some shit, find some shit. Some of the shit's wrong. One of the pieces of shit that I found had a wasp nest in it, so I had to fight a wasp. You know, like a wasp nest. I had to fight that. And then like, so, you know, you gather a bunch of shit up, you come back down because like I didn't measure anything. I'm going with the eyeball technique of just like, all right, that's about that much, that's about this much. Let's go find two things about that. So, you know, I'm trying that technique, which is a tried and true technique. Error on the first one, you know, had to go get something different. On the way back up the hill, the mule decides that particular moment was the exact moment when it decided that it was going to be out of fuel. That's fun. So I'm on the slope going up the back part of the property at the steepest part, and I lose power. It doesn't stall on me, it's just like just barely running. I'm like, whoa, that's not good. I've experienced this phenomenon before, so I'm like, I know what that is. That's lack of fuel. Like, there's no fuel. God, this is the most thinnest cut bacon I've ever seen in my life. That's like razor thin. That's kind of crazy. Well, that one's a little bit thicker. But the problem I got is like I'm not anywhere near where my fuel is, right? I've got fuel on hand. I got 5-gallon bucket full of fuel. But I'm like, you know, all the way up the hill. But the potatoes just they need cooking. So I think to myself, maybe the main problem you got is you're on a slope, and that's why it's acting as though there's no fuel. I mean, it's low, or it's empty, whatever. So I formulated a strategy in my mind that if I back down the hill, I'll get on the level ground and I'll have enough fuel to drive up to where the fuel can is, and I can just put some fuel in. But that didn't work at all. I managed to coast backwards down the hill to the flat spot, run out of momentum, stop. Run out of fuel, shuts off. So now I got no way to start it, no fuel. So I have to walk up to the house, grab the fuel can, which is completely full, 100% full. Weighing max capacity heaviness. But I also realized I don't have any way to start the mule because I have to have a jump pack. So I have to grab my jump pack. So now I have to carry a jump pack and a fucking 5-gallon bucket of fuel down. Yeah, that's fun. I almost went and got my ATV to do all that, but I was like, dude, that's getting ridiculous. That has got to be the thinnest bacon I've ever seen in my life. That is crazy. I mean, I guess it's not bad. Thin bacon, you get to eat more of it? Oh, why can't I? Yeah, why can't that bacon do that? I got like bacon sushi going right here in the middle. Or scrambled bacon, bacon and scrambles. That doesn't want to come apart, does it? It's really wide. Ah! Struggling, kids. Okay, so that one's screwed up. This one's pretty screwed up. These are just hammered on there like they're just permanently attached. I don't know what's going on with that. That is beyond my ability to comprehend. So anyways, got the fuel there, fueled her back up, managed to get it, yeah, it all worked out. Workbench is installed, even put some shit in a couple of the drawers. Now unfortunately it doesn't exactly match my motif in my garage, it's close. The paint of the workbench is a dark gray with red drawers, you know, I got a red and black motif going, that's my shtick. I did contemplate repainting everything, and I decided, nope, that ain't happening. Mainly because I don't feel like doing it. The thing that's nice about this new unit is like, it's got like junk drawer like ability. It's got big deep drawers. It's like, ooh, I love me a big deep drawer where you just chuck shit in and then it just disappears and you don't think about it anymore. Like, I'm kind of into that. So it's like, I just have to decide what's going in there. Because I don't really know for sure. I think this little bacon scramble, that might be like good dog material there. Beastus might enjoy that. I feel like I could cook more bacon if the back was on. Anybody else feel that way? When I was cleaning this thing this morning, I had it on, I turned the burners to high, and then I obviously forget that I did that. And then at some point I had to go to the restroom, and I was in the restroom, I started smelling the smelling of 2 burners on high on cast iron, and I thought to myself, oh yeah, that's on full blast. Oops. Do something about that. Whatever. It didn't burn the house down, so that's good. Oh, the beast is interested in the bacon. Hello, beast. Berta, you interested in bacon? Very much so. Yeah, me too. Me too, doggy. Very much so. So that was kind of cool. Got some cones. Got a workbench. Now the workbench, like I said, it's not super high quality. Although, I mean, all things being relative, the way that everything's getting so cheapened out, it's probably high quality now. I mean, I don't know. It's not as nice as my toolboxes, but it's not a competition. I mean, it can be a competition, but it's not. I mean, one of the nice things about it is, like, that part of my garage is kind of no man's land where, like, when I set the garage up, I set it up so I could buy a third toolbox if I wanted to and it would fit. Which would have been a little ridiculous. Like, I mean, those toolboxes are nice, but they're not very deep drawers. They're very shallow. So what I was missing was like some deep storage. So it's actually kind of perfect. Plus those toolboxes are kind of expensive. Another downfall. Let's give the dog some bacon. Mmm, bacon. Good girl. So today we're cooking our eggs in the back. Actually, I might spin this thing 180. I do have the heat going, starting to warm up the egg cooking area. So I was like trying to look up like what this workbench was and, you know, blah 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 blah. There's not very much information on it. I saw a couple for sale, pretty beat up. Saw a video of a guy who got one for free, just like me, and, you know, polished it up a little bit and sold it for $50, which I thought was pretty cool. And then I looked up, like, do they make a new version of this? And this is where it gets good. So remember the slope on the griddle? I don't know if there actually is. I think it's just random. Like, it seemed like there was a cast slope, but I don't really know that there is. I think it's just like some days it slopes one way and some days it slopes the other. I think mainly it's the kitchen floor has a slope. Like right now, I don't know if you can see the sheen, but like the bacon grease is laying right here. I don't know, whatever. It doesn't matter. If my egg falls in the crack, I'll just eat crack-cooked eggs. Or the groove. I've done it before. It's not the end of the world. I feel like most of this bacon is bacon juice. I should make the dog happy, though. I've been collecting the bacon grease, and that's the new dog's treat. She gets bacon grease now a little bit with her breakfast. She was kind of not eating her breakfast like a good dog should, which, you know, is a little concerning if you're trying to keep your dog going. You know, they got to eat. And she was kind of giving me the, I only want to eat like pizza and hamburgers and stuff like that. I was like, well, that's me too, dog, but like, that's not going to happen. I don't even get to eat pizza and hamburgers every day. It's like, you got dog food, eat that. She's like, well, I don't want to eat my dog food. I'd rather eat something better. And it's like, well, but you got to eat your dog food because that's what you have to eat. So, a little bacon grease, not a lot. Just a little bit in the bottom of the old plate. Makes the dog food taste good enough, I guess. This is like prosciutto thin. Turn that down. I just like wrinkled up to nothing. Ah! Whatever. I can't do anything about that. I feel like there might be a slope to it. I don't know. There's something sloping. He's reaching across the camera. Yep, trim. It's like clamshell shaped piece of bacon. That's not going to cook very good. Flatten out, god damn you! Oh, what's my other great story? So, this is a little bit embarrassing. I'll tell it anyway, don't care. Many years ago, or several years ago, in my infinite wisdom, I don't even remember why or what I was doing. I was in the garage and I needed, I'll turn this front burner off for now. For some reason I needed to run a space heater, right? Now that bacon is just turning into nothing. So in my infinite wisdom, I was like, well, you got to plug a space heater in, and the spot where I have to plug this in is not where I need the space heater. I need it someplace else, blah, blah, blah. I need a power cord. So what I decided would be a great idea was to grab the retractable work light from the ceiling, which had a plug in it, for reasons I don't quite understand. One of the little click-clack lights with the cage on it that you pull down out of the ceiling and retractable. And I plugged my space heater in there, and it was working great. Just space heating along just fine. Then like out of nowhere, like the house like goes bleh, or whatever, the lights all flicker or some shit, and I go out and I kind of smell the smell of like, ooh, bad news. And what had happened is the space heater had pulled so many amps that what it did is it turned the wires that were still up inside the retractable work light into a toaster rack, completely melting them and destroying essentially the yep, that happened. Which made me sad because having a work light hanging above your garage spot is super duper convenient. And I lost it. It melted. And I was kind of okay with it. You know, I was like, oh, I screwed up. And then like kind of recently, I was like, you know what? I should try to fix that thing. Take a look at it. I think I took a look at it right away. And I was like, oh, that thing's toast. And then I was feeling more ambitious about maybe trying to fix it. And I took it apart again and looked at it. I was like, God, that thing is smoked. Because like inside the mechanism is all these holes on it's like a thimble with holes just as part of the design. The housing of the wire had melted and like squeezed through the holes, if that makes sense. Like, it was pretty bad. So I had rain the other day, I had nothing to do, so I was like, well, let me see if I can fix this thing. Ooh, oh, there it goes. Damn it. It went. I feel like I had raw bacon on it. Let's switch. You, my friend, go back up. Ah, perfect. So, yeah. So I was like, well, you know, I'd kind of given up on it. I kind of looked online. I was like, well, I just buy, you know, the cost of doing business, right? I screwed up. Just buy a new one. Well, they're really expensive, you know, like everything's expensive. So I'm like, well, I could probably fix this thing. Like, maybe I can get a Sawzall in there and I could Sawzall out all that melted wire. So, like, I started working on it and, like, scraping it out or whatever. I mean, whatever. I did. Got it all cleaned out. And I was like, all right. I managed to fix this, or I managed to get all the dead wires out. Now I need to replace the wires. And, like, you know, they actually wrote on the outside of the thing, like, what the wire is to replace it. It's like, replace with this wire. And I'm like, oh. You think you know so much. Like, listen here, package with instructions. I don't believe you. I'm going to do whatever I want. Cause, like, whatever. So it's like a really low gauge wire because it's not designed to carry high amps. It's like a super low amp. So it's like 18 gauge wire, which is super thin. Like, Most, sorry. I'm eating bacon. Dog ham. Most of the electrical wires are 16 gauge, and if you don't know anything about gauge, the smaller the number, the bigger the wire. So I was like, well, where do you buy replacement wire? Like, you just buy an extension cord and then just like cut the ends off? Like, I guess I'll do that. So I started looking for extension cords. Well, much like every goddamn thing else on the planet, you can't just buy a $2 extension cord anymore. They're all 25 bucks or whatever. It's like, Jesus. Like, I'm going to buy an extension cord for like 12 bucks, 20 bucks, something, and then cut the ends off to try to rewire this thing. I was searching everywhere trying to find a good deal on an extension cord. And then it dawned on me, why buy a brand new extension cord to cut the ends off to put into a retractable thing? Why not buy a brand new extension cord, keep the brand new extension cord, take an old extension cord, cut the wires off, the ends off that, and then, you know, that makes more sense, right? So I said to myself, do you have any old extension cords? Yep. Sure do. Good doggy. So I went out, found my extension cords, the ones on my workbench that I use all the time, right? That makes sense. You know, what extension cord do you use the most? Well, this one that's sitting right here. All right, cut that one up. So I do. I cut that one up. The one that's sitting on my workbench that I use the most. Not my blue one, though. I knew better than that. It's an old orange one. I cut it up, and it's an 18 gauge, not a 16. It's a little thicker, and I realized, well, it's a little thicker. Not as much will go on the reel. That'll be fine. If I get, 17 feet instead of 20 feet on this thing, I'll be fine. Life will continue. I should have made toast. Why didn't I make toast yet? Why did that hammer on there like a goddamn Jeepers Creepers? So anyways, I fight this thing. I rewire the whole entire thing. Everything I rewire. Plug it in, doesn't work. Which, doesn't make me super duper happy. Well, I realized I forgot to check one part of it for damage. And yeah, that's damaged. So like, basically spent several hours cleaning an old melted wire out of a thing that I should have just chucked in the trash. Just to destroy a perfectly good working extension cord. Just to put it all back together and be disappointed. Yep, that's what my day was like the other day. That was pretty fun. It looks nice. Whatever. Alright. Toast. Man, I don't know if I'm having toast. I might just eat bacon strips and eggs. Come here, doggy. Jesus. Have another one. You wild beast. Quit biting my goddamn finger. Oh, we got potatoes. Hold please. Potatoes. Yeah, those sound crispy. Crispy. So, I think what else is fun. Oh, I had one of my power tools break on me recently. One of my impact drivers broke, which is fun. But it just happened to be one of those amazing rigid impact drivers. With that equally amazing lifetime service agreement or whatever type of deal. It's actually a pretty good story. So I've dealt with the rigid lifetime warranty thing before, and it's a pain in the ass. It's a bunch of hoop jumping. But, it's part of the gig. The previous one ended up being like months and months and months of just getting jerked around. Drive to the next town, have the guy look at it there. Drive to this town, have the guy look at it here. Nobody wants to work on it. Blah, 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 blah. So it's like I'm expecting no less this time. So the previous quote-unquote guy who fixes tools, he doesn't do it anymore. Somebody else. I'm going to protect the innocent and not use names. But the guy who's supposed to be the dude doing this, whatever. He's got a company. Let me shut this off for a second. You know, I try to call him just to be like, yo, what's the story? You actually going to do this shit? Or is this going to be a deal where I take it to you and you're going to stare at me and I'm going to stare back at you and then we're going to keep staring at each other and then nothing's going to happen? Like, the dude's always closed, doesn't answer his phone, blah, blah, blah. Really weird thing, like, I call the number and the message is like, the message tells me the number I've called. And I know maybe that's a thing you did in the past, but like, I don't really understand why that's like information that's worth wasting anybody's time. Like, the number you dialed is on your phone now. Like, it tells you what you dialed. It's like having them take their time to tell you what you dialed is just wasting everybody's time. Anyways. Kind of crazy. Should give the dog an egg, a juicy egg. You want a juicy egg, dog? Yum. So, like, I am going to make toast. I'm just going to try if I can find a spot to make it. So anyways, I can't ever get a hold of this guy. It's just, like, the whole thing's kind of a little weird, you know, like, whatever. And, like, his hours of business are kind of not the hours where I'm available to, like, stop by the business, because it closes before I'm available to drop off, and it opens after I'm already gone for the day. So the other day I was like, screw it, I'm just taking care of this. Like, I'm just gonna take care of this. I'm gonna show up right when it opens, which is like when I should be someplace else. But that's fine, you know, no big deal. Just do it, get it over with, right? So I'm like trying to like figure out where this address is, right? So like I'm Googling the address and like I'm getting these weird results. Like typing the business name in. Because like the rigid people told me the address over the phone. They said it was like 123, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Surprise Street, right? And when I type in the guy's business name, we'll call it whatever. Oat Nut Incorporated. So I type into Google Oat Nut Incorporated on 123 Surprise Street. And it kind of shows up there, but it also shows up in another part of town. I'm like, well, the business name shows up in another part of town, but the address is different. And then there's like two versions of the business. There's Oat Nut Incorporated and then there's Oat Nut Services, right? And I'm just like, well, what the hell is happening? Like, ah! I dropped my fork. Hold, please. We will not be eating with that fork anymore. It's just like, it's so weird. So I keep Googling and Googling. It kind of seems as though the address they gave me from Rigid, maybe address is no longer correct. And truth be told, I didn't go to the address they told me first because it kind of seemed like they were closed. Because I happened to find another business associated with that exact same address, a new named business, a thrift shop, if you will. And I'm thinking, what are the chances that business is still there with a thrift shop happening right next to it? You know what I mean? I mean, there's zero and there's close to zero. Give the dog some bacon. Bacon cam. Whoa, careful, slippy slip. Yeah, I know, there's no grip on this floor. I'm sorry. So anyways, I had to go to this, like, it shows, like, the alternative address, which is, like, a part of town by the river, if you will. There's different sides of my town. There's a side where the sun comes up, and there's light in the morning, and there's, like, a side of town where the river is. It's the side by the river. Well, this guy lived on the side by the river, right? And I don't go there very often. And he lived in a part of the town by the river on that side I didn't even know existed. And I've lived in this town my entire goddamn life. And I'm like, whoa, where is this? Didn't even know. I mean, I'm going into the belly of the beast here. I have no idea where I'm going. So I'm like, screw it. We're doing this thing. Because, like, the thing I know about rigid warranties, like, you have to jump through the hoops. Like, you have to participate in their goddamn fantasy. And if you don't, they just say, well, sir, you didn't participate in the fantasy, therefore we can't help you. If you participate in the fantasy, then they're kind of obligated to do something. So, like, I drive this, like, it's a neighborhood, right? And it's not a bad neighborhood. It's not a bunch of mansions or anything. It's just, like, kind of like modular homes or whatever. Just, like, blah, blah, whatever. They're houses. They have foundations. It's not trailers or anything. And, like, I finally find this guy's address, and it's like, I'm going to make this up. I pull up. And in the front of the house, it's like, there's like the truck with the business, the oat bread business on the back of the trailer. There's like, the driveway's full of stuff. Like, it's full of like folding tables. Because like, I think the guy rented stuff out too. For like weddings and shit. There's stuff everywhere. Like, he's using his front yard as a storage unit, right? I go on the front porch, and there's boxes there being delivered. They have the name of the business on them, Oat Bread, Oat Bread Incorporated. It's sitting on the front porch. I look at the door. On the tags, a tag from the city inspector. The city's been there leaving notices. It's like, what the fuck is happening? Like, I got a tool in my hand like a dipshit. So I'm going to a business to have a professional diagnose my problem, right? And it's like, well, this ain't happening. Knock on the door, nothing, right? I'm looking at the front porch. I'm going to make those up. The front porch has got like a block of concrete to hold the porch up, but then like the concrete must have sunk, so he wedged like a brick underneath it. It's like, it's all janky. He's like, dude, what is happening? This doesn't make sense. So I instantly just walk back to my car, and I call the Rigid number, which means you have to go on hold because ain't nobody at Rigid going to answer. Let that be a lesson to you. If you ever try to contact Rigid customer support, just check the option for the callback, and they'll call you back in a few days. Or hours, or whatever. Bacon ham. Yummy. So I'm like, whatever. A couple hours later, they haven't called back. It's like lunchtime. I'm like, dude, this is crazy. Like, usually they call you back in like an hour at least. I was gonna get more coffee, but I still have some coffee. So I'm like, well, this isn't gonna happen. Like, the dude is not running a business anymore. How do I solve this riddle? I can't get a hold of corporate. I want to solve this thing. I'm just gonna call the local Home Depot and talk to the manager there and be like, just ask him, like, what am I supposed to do here, bud? I mean, I realize the local Home Depot is not Rigid. They're just, they sell it. So I call and they're like, how can I direct your call? It's like, well, I'd like to talk to the store manager. Not a big deal. Just had a question for him. Like, I'm not calling as a Karen, like complaining. And it was really weird because they're like, maybe, can I get your name so I can tell the guy who you are? And I'm like, well, if you knew how important I was, yeah, for sure. Let's do this. Which is not the case, and the guy doesn't know who I am. Anyways, here, bird. Bacon. I get the guy on the phone. I kind of explain the situation. I was like, dude, like, they told me to go to Oat Bread. That's the name of this company, right? Oat Bread. And the first guy goes, oh, yeah, they're out of business. I'm like, yeah, no, kind of weird. I figured that out, too, after driving around for 2 fucking hours all over town trying to figure out where this guy lives. Or where his business is. I mean, I actually went back to the original address and I saw the second-hand store was there. Whatever. And I'm like, how am I supposed to warranty this thing? The guy goes, yeah, I have no idea. We used to have a thing where we we'd have people bring the tools in here and we'd work on them here, but we ended that policy. And I was like, okay, whatever. What's the new policy? He's like, well, I think the new policy is, certified technicians look at it. And I'm like, well, who are they? He's like, well, was that on Oat Bread Incorporated? Well, yeah, that ain't gonna work. He's like, yeah, no, it's not, is it? I was like, what am I supposed to do? He's like, well, let me find out for you. Let me get your number. I'll call you back. So this guy actually went out of his way. And like, what was crazy is this is the manager of the local Home Depot. He can't even get a hold of Rigid. He has to do like a text support thing, or like texting, like typing messages. So he's typing away, whatever, trying to get his thing. He said he'd call me back later. I was like, that's fine, no big deal. A couple hours later, I get a phone call back from Rigid. I was like, yo, this is Joe Blow from Rigid calling you back. How can I help you? And I told him the story. I said, well, Oat Bread Incorporated, or Oat Nut Incorporated, they don't seem to be in business. I went to the guy's house and there was just shit everywhere and notes from the city, like, ain't looking good, dude. Like, maybe might be struggling with life a little bit. Like, might have lost his business and is trying to run it from his house. I have no idea. But it's not looking good for my tool getting diagnosed. I knocked on the door, no one answered, type of deal. I was like, what am I supposed to do? And he's like, describe what's going on with your tool. And I was like, I was using it, and then it stopped working. Like, it's about the best I can describe to you, because that's exactly what happened. I was using it, and it stopped working. Let me put you on hold. He puts me on hold forever. Like a 10-minute hold. He comes back. Can you describe what happened to the tool to me again? I was like, sure can. I was using it, and it was working fine. It kind of made a little bit of a weird noise, and it stopped working. It's not the battery. The thing works, like the battery is fresh. The LED still works. I think it just crapped. Something broke or something. I don't know. And he's like, let me put you on hold. I'm like, whatever, dude. Like, you want a potato? Will you eat a potato? Good lunge. Puts him on hold some more. He finally comes back. He's like, Mr. Elveshelves, we're just going to send you a new tool. Don't worry about it. I'm like, cool, man. Double checks my address. Yep, that's my address. It's like, all right, we'll get it started. It's heading out to you. And I was like, well, just out of curiosity, what are you sending me? Like, this is an old tool. Are you sending me an old tool? Or are you sending me a new tool? That'll be a surprise. I'm not going to tell you what he's sending me. It was supposed to be here today, according to the tracking information. As of yesterday, the tracking said it would be here today by noon. And then I checked again. Now it says Monday. Except for this, which is interesting. If I put the tracking information into my iPad, it says coming on Monday. If I put my tracking information on my computer, it says coming today. If I go into the automated text chat on my computer that says it's coming today, and I enter the number in, it says coming Monday, but the computer still says coming today. Pretty awesome. Not confusing. Not frustrating at all. So anyways, dude, like, they're sending me the new tool, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm pretty happy about that. The guy was like, yeah, I appreciate you letting us know about our vendor. We don't know what's going on. We had no idea. His business had closed. It's not in our records. You're saying you went to his house and there's shit everywhere and there's notes from the city. I'm like, sure is. He's like, yeah, that doesn't sound good. I'm like, nope, doesn't. And I don't know the dude, don't know anything about him. All I know is, like, I tried to go during business hours and there was nothing happening, so it ain't looking great. Just took one more egg. Screw it. You got the phone with him, maybe 45 minutes later, dude from Home Depot calls back. He's like, yo, try to get a hold of Rigid. I had to do the text chat. So he tells me all this. I'm like, dude, that's crazy. You're the manager and you can't even get through to these people? Like, nope, sure can't. I'm like, well, that's kind of sucky, like, Sucks to have no clout. I mean, I don't have any clout. I can't get through to him. You should have some clout. Anyways, this is what he tells me. He's like, well, I got some bad news for you. I'm like, what's that? He's like, you're going to have to take that tool to a service center. He said the closest one to you is the big city an hour away. I'm like, what? You want me to drive an hour away to like have a dude tell me my tool's broken? That's basically what I was trying to do, is like have a guy look at it and be like, yeah, that's definitely broken. Or whatever, you know. He's supposed to say, well, this is broken, and he's supposed to put a new piece in there. I don't know what's supposed to happen. I really don't know. That ain't my gig. And he's like, or you can go to the middle of the next state next to you, which is like way more than an hour, or you can go to go up into the state north of you, which is like way more than an hour. I was like, is that serious? Like, their solution is to get your car and drive for hours? It's like, oh fuck, man. Like, at some point, like, do I need to do an overnight stay? Like, do I gotta get a hotel to do this? Or like, what's happening here, folks? It's kind of crazy. And the guy kind of agrees, like, yeah, that is some bullshit. I was like, well, I'll be honest with you. Just shortly before, you know, he called me, I got a call back from Rigid, and they're just taking care of it for me. He's like, oh, thank God. That's what they should do. And I was like, I kind of agree. And he's like, yeah, well, I needed to know this anyways because I didn't know the answer, so it's not that big of a deal, blah, blah, blah. I thank you for his time. What about my business? But it's just like, that's crazy to me. That their solution was get your car and drive like an hour. I was like, yeah, there you go. Whatever. I mean, I don't know how angry to get about any of it, you know. Excuse me, my nose is running because I'm on the internet. But it's just kind of wonky. Like, the whole thing is just kind of wonky. It's real strange. That's how, like, it's done, you know? Just like a bunch of random nonsensical rules that never get followed. Ooh, that's gonna run. That's right, I used my finger to stop that egg from running. I mean, whatever, it doesn't matter. I don't think that tool's coming today, though. It's probably coming Monday. That's fine. Originally, it was supposed to be here Wednesday. I was expecting it Wednesday. That's what they originally told me. The it's coming today was like a pleasant surprise. Like, oh, wait, Sunday delivery? That's weird. I'm not going to say no. Because if it comes on Sunday, it's ready to use on Monday. Because I could use it on Monday, and that'd be great. But instead, nope. Here. Good dog. I mean, whatever. It's not the end of the world. It's just the beginning. And then, without missing a beat, after all that, you know, we're sending you the new tool, talk to the guy. I literally walked upstairs, grabbed my Sawzall, put a battery in it, and tried to use my Sawzall. My Sawzall broke. Dog, go on the rug. You're getting slippy foot syndrome. You're slipping, sliding away like you're on ice. So yeah, I put the battery in the Sawzall, just dies on me. I'm like, oh man, maybe my battery's low on juice, you know, like get a different fresh battery, put that in, nothing. It's like, well, that's not good. Like, how's this going to play out? Am I going to, you know, do I have to call Rigid, and then they're going to send me to Oat Bread Incorporated, and I'm going to have to explain to them how that's not a business anymore, and then they're going to send me to the town an hour or two away, like, for my broken Sawzall? Like, good Lord, how is this all happening at once type of a deal? That's what I'm thinking. I ended up taking a hammer and pounding on the Sawzall and magically fixed it, I guess. I don't even know what happened, but, like, yeah. After beating on it with a hammer, it seems to solve whatever issue it was suffering from, which is odd. That's kind of an odd way to fix a tool. And I literally have no idea what was jamming it up. Like, I have no idea. Like, I went years without contacting Rigid. I just had, like, I've been having, like, a lot of contact with Rigid lately, and it's not... I mean, I used to be pretty bad, like, down on that company, like, because they were kind of shitty about how they dealt with their stuff, and like, that was my first interaction with them. Kind of sucked. You know, it did get resolved, but it literally took months. You know, it took months and months and months. This time, it's been going better. Let's put it that way. Whatever. I mean, I don't know what to think about any of it. I think I went overtime. The peeling of the potatoes took too long. So, unfortunately, I don't have a hat on and my hair is a mess, so I'm not going to do a turnaround. Haha, too bad. So, thanks for listening to my stories about my adventures. I will catch y'all later. Peace.